Recently, our client Tommy met his banker to discuss continuing his father's restaurant legacy. In us, he found a partner that understood the importance of passing the torch. First Horizon Bank. Let's find a way. Go to firsthorizon.com/Tommy.
Welcome to this podcast. This is episode number 24. My name is Dimitra and I am in Toronto, Ontario, and I'm joined once again by Jaime Olympus Jr. in Seattle, Washington.
How's it going?
And we're also joined by Jonathan Firewolf Kuline over there in Mississauga.
Finally! Firewolf!
All right. Okay, well, let's start off the show as we usually do. Let's have some fact check on our last episode.
Jonathan, take it away. Do you want me to do the fact? This is your fact check. You crushed it this week. I got to kick back and relax.
Okay.
I corroborate your fact check. You nailed it.
Okay, so you're right. I did do this one. I thought you had added some stuff to it, but now that I'm looking at it, it's all me.
No, you nailed it.
This is all the black ink that I used. Okay, so at 1:12 to the show, I was talking about a boy who returns with powers, and the name of the show was in fact Beyond, as I said. Started in 2016, and it was not the family as Jonathan thought. And a young actor named Berkeley Duffield plays Holden Matthews, who actually wakes from a 12-year coma, not from having gone somewhere else and disappearing and stuff like that, but he was in a coma for 12 years, and in his mind he went somewhere. Let's put it that way. 3823, The Undiscovered Country, which I mentioned, starts off with the destruction of Praxis, not Kronos, as I thought, as I was speaking about it. We did mention it later on in the show, but there you go. At 3607, Aaron Harbert's one of the show producers, mentioned on After Trek when he was on with Shanika Martin Green and the other lady, who I can't remember her name, who's the other producer, and the actor who plays Stamets. Can't remember his name either. Oh well. Too bad we're not having fact check next week. He did mention that we should pay attention to that green spore, because they were trying to ask him, can you leak something about what's happening next time? And that's all he would give us. But we already surmised that would be a significant plot point coming in the future. And finally, at 5317, we're all talking about this one particular character whose name is Lieutenant Commander Aram, and I believe she's a special ops spore drive operator, played by Hamilton's own Sarah Milich, and she is actually an augmented alien, not an augmented human, as we thought.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go. Yeah. Oh, and just one other last little point. They do mention during this show that the last episode, that this all happens 10 years before Spock and Kirk. I can't remember where I got that fact from, but so I think my sister Indira was asking me when exactly this takes place. So it's 10 years before Spock and Kirk.
And in breaking fact check news, the names you're looking for are Anthony Rapp and Gretchen Berg.
Thank you very much. Thanks for that save there, Firewolf. Okay, so Firewolf, why don't you take it away and give us some
Tim, I
some
like
news.
how you have the note here on Sarah Mitich. Is that how that's pronounced?
Sarah Milich, yeah.
Milich, being from Bob Hamilton, Ontario, which is fantastic.
Hamilton, Ontario, yes. Named after Bob, yep.
All right, so we have a little news. We'll get into that before we get to our recap of the final episode this season of Star Trek Discovery. So we talked weeks previously about the reboot of Greatest American Hero. So they've announced who is going to be the star of that show, and it is Hannah Simone. Maybe familiar to people who are fans of Fox's sitcom New Girl. She is one of the actresses there, and she's quite delightful on that show. So that definitely is a reason to get excited about that. She's very, very beautiful. She's very, very funny. And when they talked about that sort of flawed character that they wanted to cast as the Greatest American Hero, I think she will be an excellent fit there. So that's pretty cool. We also got news that there's going to be a new regular cast member on the Orville next season. Jessica, okay, you guys want to help me out here?
Zor
has been cast as a season regular similar, but they haven't said it as what. So that'll be kind of interesting. I wonder where we see her fitting in, if this means they're going
Wait, she's from Shameless.
Yes, it's...
which is one of my favorite shows. I'm trying to figure out who she is now.
Yeah. It says she was also on Twin Peaks, and she's been on a bunch of other stuff, and it says that she's joining the cast that also includes yada, 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 yada. This is from our good friends here at Deadline Hollywood, and it doesn't say what she's going to be playing. It doesn't say that they're getting rid of any characters, so I don't know if they're just expanding the cast, or if this is they're going to kill somebody off, or that'd be interesting. So
that is interesting to see how they'll sort of
maybe
slot
Seth
that
Rogen's
person
character
in.
has another ex-wife.
Yes, yeah. A future Mrs. Ex-wife to the captain, yeah. We got news that Mary J. Blige is going to be joining the Umbrella Academy. Netflix is making the Umbrella Academy, a great Dark Horse comic that's being turned into a television series. Excited about that one. Good to see that. We were all a little excited on Twitter this week. We were all on board when we found out that Salem Saberhagen will return to Sabrina, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, coming to Netflix. They have announced that they are bringing the cat back. I know Jaime was doing cartwheels and backflips over this.
Yeah, it's good to have that continuity, and I think we determined that it was going to be like a normal cat with a little bit of CGI, not the puppet like they had on the Sabrina the Teenage Witch show with Melissa Joan Hart. Nor is it going to be, as I posited, Doug Jones performing the role of the cat.
Christoper Plummer not available.
Or it's not going to be Michelle Yeoh's leg either. So,
the scandal. Let me have this. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I haven't heard any word whether they're going to bring back the guy who did the voice. He did the voice on the show, and he did the voice on the...
I thought you said he was coming back.
No, the character's coming back, but we don't know that the guy's coming back to do the voice. So that'll be interesting. News today from Entertainment Weekly. Apparently, Greg Nicotero from The Walking Dead has been teasing the fact there will be a fully nude zombie on the second half of the season coming up, starting
to which I say, why?
Soon. I think that is the question on everyone's mind at this point. Why a fully nude zombie? But apparently they're going there.
All right. Male or female?
I did not say, but knowing this television thing the way it is, I'm going to say female, just as a guess. Because, I don't know. We got news that V, the popular miniseries / TV show from the 1980s / reboot from the early 2000s, is being brought back for a third time. This time it's being plotted as a trilogy of motion pictures. So I think it's a great idea. The whole, aliens come to Earth, they have ulterior motives, they're eating us like hamsters. It's a great plot. It was one of my favorite shows when I was a kid. And yes, I do in fact have every issue of the comic book series that was tied into it.
Right.
But
wasn't Ilsa in that one too?
That's a good question.
I think Ilsa was in that one, the TV show.
Yeah.
Friend of mine, Ilsa.
It was good. So I think that could work. Although you think if it failed, like that can't have been that long ago. That was only like 10 years ago that they did that. Maybe 10.
Well, the reboot or the original one?
The reboot was an ABC show.
Marina Baccarin.
It was like maybe not even 10 years ago, and it only lasted 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm curious to see why they think this will work now, other than the fact that IP is working like crazy for people right now. But
yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It was an interesting show when it first came out, like you said, because it was kind of caught everybody by surprise in terms of sort of the plot line, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was one of those big blockbuster 3-part event miniseries things, and then they brought it back for like a couple more to sort of wrap that up, and then it was so popular they brought it back as a show. Although the show only lasted one season. They did have a devoted 11-year-old me watching it every week, but it was a phenomenon for a little while there.
Wasn't the lady from Lost in that one too?
Yes,
the blonde.
Yes, she was.
So,
yeah,
that wasn't that long ago. It was maybe 3 years ago. Longer, yeah, whatever.
That show was on the air.
Yeah, I don't think it was that long ago because I didn't watch Lost, and I very clearly remember her and Marina Baccarin in it for sure.
Yeah,
right?
again.
Oh, you know what? Marina Baccarin after that went to Homeland.
Gotham. She was on Gotham.
Gotham, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Because she did Homeland, then she was on. Then she was. Yeah. You're right. It wasn't that long ago.
Yep. So we also found out this week a bunch of different places, including the Hollywood Reporter, reporting that Brian Michael Bendis, who just left Marvel Comics, he was their sort of flagship writer, just left Marvel for rival DC to write all their Superman titles, is also working with Deadpool director Tim Miller on a Kitty Pryde movie. Now, we had talked about the Kitty Pryde movie being a thing, that apparently that was being worked on, but that's some pretty heavyweight talent to put behind this too. So really keen to see what comes of that. Always one of my favorite characters. We talked about this a few episodes ago. Like, I think, Jaime and I both share an affection for the character, but yeah, that's a really good writer and a really good director. So the recipe's good. The ingredients are good. Now we'll see if they can make something out of it.
Yeah, makes its own gravy.
Indeed. And they've got the portrayal of Colossus in the Deadpool series that hopefully they can play a little bit off of or set up for that in the future.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they tie that all together. News today that Alita, which was, what was the full title in the anime, Jaime?
Battle Angel Alita.
Battle Angel Alita. So this is the live action version that's been made. They have announced that they are pushing it back. It was going to be released in July. Now it's being pushed back to December 21st. So if you're looking for something to do over the Christmas break, apparently that's going to be your popcorn date. It's coming out on the same date as Aquaman, Bumblebee, and Holmes and Watson. So that it's got some all the big sort of go see something over the Christmas break movies are all lining up now. We also got news that the Predator reboot is going to be moved as well. That one was supposed to be out in August, and now it's moving to middle of September. So it's right off the summer slate entirely. Make of that what you will.
I kind of wonder at what point is the point of no return in terms of actually having to release the movie versus saying, forget it, just sell it to Netflix and let them show it.
I was just going to say, I wonder how much money Netflix would pay for a Predator to release exclusively, because that seems to be the direction these things are going. And speaking of which, Netflix just bought Extinction, which was a sci-fi flick that was made by Universal. It's got some firepower behind it. It's got Michael Pena, Mike Coulter, who plays Luke Cage. It's got Lizzie Kaplan from Masters of Sex. Michael Pena is, of course, from Ant-Man. And it sounds good. It sounds like an interesting sci-fi movie. It's about a guy who has a recurring dream that his family's going to die. Aliens show up and he realizes that he actually has the power to stop them. So it's a little, it might be a little familiar, but again, it doesn't sound like, flop material. But apparently Universal went the same route that Paramount did with Cloverfield Paradox and basically said, you know what, we don't want to put this out and invest all the money in marketing it and everything else. So they chucked it over to Netflix.
Yeah, it's a sort of captive audience. It's a good idea,
I am all for it. If they want to keep putting out long, 2-hour sci-fi flicks that, other companies don't want to put out, I'm down. That's good. Bring it. And the last bit we got here was that Annialation, which is another movie we talked about that's going to be on Netflix, although not here in North America. Annihilation is being slammed a little bit because apparently it has been whitewashed. Apparently they have taken characters that in the book were supposed to be one of the characters is supposed to be of Asian descent. One of them is supposed to be of half American Indian, half Caucasian, and apparently they're both being played by white people, Natalie Portman and Jennifer Jason Leigh, respectively. And so, as they deserve, they got a little slammed this week, and to the point where even Natalie Portman herself was being interviewed this week and said, you know what, you're right, we should have, totally done that. Of course, that is kind of a nice Monday morning quarterbacking on somebody who just got paid to make the movie. But yeah, again, yet another movie that's kind of getting taken to the woodshed for the fact that it is doing this. Now, the article on Hollywood Reporter points out that there's a great supporting cast. Gina Rodriguez, Tessa Thompson, Benedict Wong all have key roles. So it's not just a movie that's full of
complete whitewash,
white people, but these two main characters, the two primary characters, were supposed to be of mixed race and are not. So yeah. So I guess they deserve a little bit of a butt kicking, and we'll see if it has any impact on. I mean, it's hard to say what this one was going to do. I don't know that a whitewashing criticism is going to do a lot of harm to this film. I don't know if there was a lot of buzz for it, but never a good thing to have as your first Google search entry.
Yeah, and I was not that familiar with the source material. That's hard to say, like how sort of egregious it is of a change. Like, I don't know, Ghost in the Shell is probably the biggest one that comes to mind.
Oh yeah.
I can kind of understand why they did it for the main character to bring in Natalie Portman. I'm a little less clear why they did it for the supporting cast. I'm very curious to see what the decision was there.
Well, and I guess the counter argument to that is, instead of hiring Natalie Portman, why don't you make Tessa Thompson the star of that movie and have Natalie Portman play a smaller role, or hire somebody, another person to play that role? You know what I mean? Like, at a certain point, we just need to take our best actors who also happen to have, color in their skin, and give them roles that they can, make work in that way. I don't know. It seems
maybe
like
they're just being cautious because it is Natalie Portman after all, right?
Yeah.
But again, how much box office draw does she really have? I guess that's the question, right?
Yeah. I mean, she's Caucasian, but she's Jewish. Is that, or is there any kind of?
Oh, are we going to go there?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, but speaking of butt kicking, Tim.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of butt kicking. So it was a bit of a debate here on the show, as you know. If you listened to last week's episode, I think some of us were upset about my analysis of the slowed up
don't say Muppet leg. Don't
Michelle
say Muppet
Yeoh.
leg.
I wasn't going to say Muppet leg, but and so on my PVR, I slowed it down, and it did look on the PVR out of focus and all that kind of stuff. It did look kind of not realistic. Although I do believe it was Michelle Yeoh's leg that came up and was intending to hit Jason Isaacs, who was holding her from behind. But to me, the angle was all wrong. But then that's typical of Hollywood punches and that kind of stuff. They don't actually hit each other in these things. They make it. They set up the cameras so that they look like they're hitting. Or if you ever notice when somebody's pointing a gun at another character or another actor on the stage, on the film, they're actually not pointing the gun directly at the actor. They're off to the side or whatever. It's the camera angle that makes it look like they're pointing a gun at them. Anyway, so I did some research. I went into Google and I said, okay, let me see Michelle Yeoh kicking, because I know you guys have mentioned Michelle Yeoh. My only reference to her is the James Bond movie she was in, and of course Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, right? So I hadn't really seen much of her, and I know she's a big star in Hong Kong, right? So I went and watched this video, and I did some bit of research on her. And it turns out that Michelle Yeoh is actually a dancer, not a martial artist. Like, she's not trained as a traditional martial artist. So what she does is she combines her dance moves with the coaching she has on set to make it look like she's kicking people's butts. But that's okay. So there's basically somebody's put together a whole, it's like a 6-minute long video of all the kick butting action that Michelle Yeoh has done across the various movies, including the two that I mentioned, right? And so I draw your attention to, if you watch this clip, or if you want to just zoom ahead to 2:23, 4:59, and 5:14 in this video clip on YouTube, that's when she actually does a kick like Jaime and Jonathan are saying that she did in where she basically kicks the person behind her. There's all kinds of other kicks that she's doing, like like punches and things like that. And so it's actually a pretty good compendium of Michelle Yeoh in action as a martial arts quote unquote star, with the air quotes there. But anyway,
so are you willing to back off on the Muppet leg thing now?
Well, no, I mean, Jaime posted a clip to our Slack channel, which was clearer, right? I think it was probably done from a digital transfer. It's still an animated GIF. It does, in fact, look more like it was Michelle Yeoh's actual leg. I defy you to show me how she actually hits him in the face, because she's just lifting her leg straight up. But again,
she's going to be back here in a few months filming. I might get her to come over and kick you in the face and see if it's real. I'm just saying.
Hey, just do the research, man. She's a dancer. It's all smoke and mirrors, right? So anyway, but yeah. But it was interesting to watch this video. I mean, she does. It is very effective in terms of the movies that she's been in, and because she's been doing this for many, many years, probably like 10 or 15, 20 years maybe, of her kicking various butts in Hong Kong flicks as well as North American flicks, right? So if you're interested in watching Michelle Yeoh in action, I recommend you watch this, because I mean, the other problem that with this is this particular clip that we're talking about in Discovery, and we're talking about in the episode before, which was called They've Seen My Neck. Is that the one? No.
The last episode was called The War Without, The War Within.
No, the one before that
was prologue was
that
maybe the
was one, yeah, where just before, when they're fighting on the thing. The problem with the kick was, and again, maybe the behind the scenes thing will show better, but the problem with the kick was the camera was too close on the two actors, right? If it was a little bit further back, you might have been able to see that in fact she was motioning up her leg to kick the person. But yeah, it was the set was too dark and the camera was too close on the two actors, right? So
the animated GIF told me a little bit more because I was able to watch it a few times and say, oh, okay. So when I was watching the show live, I was like, oh, that kick went straight up, right? It's what I remember it, and it's kind of closer to what you have here linked in the, thankfully, and linked with the time codes on the YouTube channel because I compared. I would assume that it's a little bit less straight up as it is when she was, a much younger woman, and it's a little bit more off to the side and then up. So she rotates the hip a little bit differently.
At the end of the day, none of us can do this kind of thing. Well,
yeah.
So what the hell are we talking about?
I was like, it's still very dramatically effective, right? He's like, holy smokes, look at that. Look what she just did.
I still think that move is awesome. It's the kick knife out of the midair. That one is a win. That's a really awesome shot. The guy's like chucks a knife her. She's just like, get that knife out of here with my foot.
Yeah. Anyway, that's our I guess we're all fans of Michelle Yeoh. I mean, I think we all are. There you go.
Yo.
All right. So, hey, people, this is the part of the show where we talk about the actual episode we just watched. Well, I mean, I think a lot of you have probably seen it already, but if you haven't, we're going to talk about episode 15, which is the season finale of Star Trek Discovery. Will You Take My Hand is the name of the episode, and I think Jaime is going to lead us off. So, give her.
Yeah, so when we last left the Discovery crew, we had the whole sort of like cover-up of the mirror universe and the fact that the supposed Captain Philippa Georgiou, who has been like found in a cupboard somewhere during the war, is like, oh no, it's actually the Emperor, right? And there's this whole sort of setup where she is going to captain the Discovery. And in that, we begin sort of this episode with a little bit of banter, if we might want to call it, negativity, as things are very sort of tense. She is, former emperor, and she is struggling rather mightily to seem like a normal human being rather than a mirror universe human being. And there's a bit of tension there, and Michael Burnham kind of pushes really hard, like, oh yeah, tell me, where did you grow up? And she's like, oh, Malaysia, obviously, and hey, come with me on a walk, and gives her a little bit of a dressing down of like, look, you need to cut this out, right? Like, whether you agree with this take or not, like, blowing my cover is not good. I'm basically going to help you guys win the war. And so we end up with Ash Tyler saying that with this drone we can map Kronos, right? Get possible targets for this attack because we can use it to map the dormant, which will be important, dormant, quote unquote, volcanic system beneath the surface of the planet. And so the Discovery ends up jumping to that position in kind of a really cool special effect as they're like it wasn't perfect and clean, right? They're kind of leaning into the ground a little bit and having to stabilize themselves. And sort of the hypothesis here is like, all right, well, there's an Orion syndicate, I think they call it, the Orion Syndicate outpost colony on Kronos, where it's almost like an embassy sort of thing, but it's like the seedy part of town, right? It's like Klingons go there, even humans go there, but it's like a place you don't want to be. It's a place, a hive of scum and villainy, kind of like Mos Eisley from Star Wars. And supposedly there's a shrine there for people who worshipped Moloch. I forget what he was called, but it was like the Klingon devils, the one that Kalis ended up defeating and turning into ash or something. I forget what they've discussed this on like episodes of Deep Space Nine. Yep. But nevertheless,
I'm with you. I feel you. I'm there.
Nevertheless, the Disco crew is like, all right, like we're getting ready here, like to get set for this plan, which is going to involve an away party of Georgiou, Michael Burnham, Ash Tyler, and they say, oh yeah, we're going to pull in Tilly at Georgiou's request, and Tilly's like apparently not in on the plan because she's like, oh hey, it's you, and they're like, oh no, she's not. And in a great bit, Tilly like gives the little like Nazi style salute that the Mirror Universe does. Michael's like, please don't do that. Yeah. Please don't do that. But Tilly has the role of like she's going to be like the meal, right? She's supposed to bring the drone here that Georgiou has. They have a nice scene of sort of like setup of how things go when they get onto the planet's surface. We see that Klingons do in fact have two orifices at the very least. We didn't really get confirmation of exactly how their organs work, but there's a Klingon male who is urinating on the wall, I think.
It's several flows at once.
Yeah, more than one stream, which you don't normally have in a healthy human being.
Kind of makes you look at Tyler a little different, doesn't it?
Yeah. And Commander Worf and his relationships. How
could Riker measure up now that you think about it?
Right. And they have a whole set of scenes, nice little moments, I should say, of them trying out some of the food and dealing with like weapons dealers, trying to get information. They end up going to what I could only call an Orion gentleman's club, for lack of a better term, but it's very inclusive. Yeah. They have both men and women, so whatever your particular tastes are. And they split up, and they're like, all right, let's go get some information, which splits up the crew into Georgiou going off and having like her own fun with like two
slaves,
yeah, two Orion slaves, a man and a woman. Michael Burnham and Ash Tyler end up going over to this corner where there's some sort of Klingon game of chance going on, and he's like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that Voke was pretty good at this. I'm going to get into it. And so he goes in there, he starts acting more aggressive and towards the other Klingons, and speaks in Klingon and stuff. And this kind of comes up later in the episode that he's like, they found it kind of amusing. I was like a dog with skis. They found it kind of amusing that a human would speak Klingon. And then we also have Tilly, who ends up hanging out with Clint Howard, who is an Orion, who is like sniffing some sort of, he's huffing glue, but it's like coming out of like what appears to be an ash type sort of system. Not Ash Tyler, but like some sort of smoke system. And they have a little bit of a scene where she tries some of his like little smoke, ends up like getting really high, passes out temporarily. He's trying to cut the little drone box off of her wrist because it's attached kind of like, like with handcuff kind of thing. And she ends up asking him like, what the heck was this? What are you even? He's like, oh, it's from the volcanic ash. She's like, what? You mean, no, it can't be. Like, there's dormant volcanoes. He's like, no. There's live volcanoes down here beneath the surface. And so she finally, at this point, decides to open up the box for the drone, and she realizes, like, oh my god, she calls up Burnham. She's like, this isn't a drone. This is a hydro bomb, which we use on the Discovery for X reason. I don't think they said exactly what the reason is that they use, because she gets cut off by Michael saying, like, what the hell? What is this? Like, I think the plan here is that instead of, having a drone to map all these different spots, we're going to set off some sort of like, weapon of mass destruction here that will cause the volcanic sort of substructure below the whole surface to go off and like basically commit genocide against the Klingons. Like, that's not what we were trying to do. They end up, back on Discovery and having a little bit of a chit chat remotely with Admiral Cornwell about like, hey, this is not cool. This is not who we are. We're not, this is Starfleet. We don't do genocide. And there's a little bit of give and take about, our values versus, existence, because, hey, guess what? Like, we're losing the war. The Klingons are like right here, knocking on the door, about to wipe us all out. But they come up with a different plan, right? Michael Burnham convinces them, hey, instead of doing that, look, let's get Georgiou to give up the detonator in exchange for her freedom. So here they've sort of written her out for at least this season, but leaving the possibility, right? Like, Georgiou's like, whatever, you want to do it this way, fine by me. I'm going to go live my life. But they end up giving the detonator to the Klingon captive L'Rell, who ends up using it as this threat of mass destruction to unite the Klingon houses. So this is how they get themselves out of the situation of we don't want to kill all the Klingons, but we also kind of want them to not be attacking the Federation either. And then it sort of recaps rather quickly, right? Like I remember saying last episode, like, hey, I don't think Discovery can end this in like 45 minutes. And boy, oh boy, did they say, hold my beer and watch me do this. Because in like the last 10 minutes, you have a nice scene between Ash Tyler and Michael Burnham where they sort of see a little bit more eye to eye. She mentions how like, it was sort of crazy seeing him go back into that Klingon mode, but at the same time now she kind of like actually sees him, right? She doesn't see just Voke's eyes. She doesn't see what she saw before she knew. It's like, okay, I see the actual person now. And Tyler and L'Rell end up going back, or leaving with the Klingon crew. Then we end up with...
So he's like Tyler's lapdog or something? Or L'Rell's lapdog?
Yeah, mascot, yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird because he's sort of a person without a home, right? He doesn't really fit rather well into either one of them. But the Discovery crew, they're back at the UFP headquarters, and there's some nice speech stuff going on for Michael Burnham talking about Starfleet values. There's a medal ceremony because of her actions, and kind of reading between the lines, maybe because Burnham has really damning evidence against both Sarek and Admiral Cornwell and a conspiracy to commit genocide. I think that was unstated, but that's how I read it. Michael Burnham is absolved of all her charges and given back her rank, so she is a commander again within Starfleet. She has a nice scene with Sarek, who seems a little bit more tender than we're a little bit more used to. And we also see that Stamets accepts an award for Culber on his behalf, given that he has met his untimely demise. And And as we start ending the episode, the Discovery is apparently going to warp over to Vulcan to pick up its new captain. So for those of you who are following the Justice for Sarushi timeline, I'm going to have to wait a little bit on that, I guess. And we end on a little bit of a more minor cliffhanger than I thought we would, where the Discovery receives a distress call from the USS Enterprise, who makes an appearance at the very tail end. Each ship is sort of standing off in front of the other.
Yeah, it's actually captained by Captain Pike as well. So
yeah, which makes sense given the statement of what was it, 10 years. So we say 10 years before Kirk and Spock, but that's sort of shorthand to say 10 years before Kirk, because Spock was on there prior to Kirk.
Well, actually, no way, yeah, because Spock was his science officer at that point too. Right?
Well, we don't know that he was that far back, do we? Do we know that from the original series? Was it 10?
Yeah,
was he there 10
well,
years?
in the episode "The Cage," he's the science officer, and
is that 10 years before?
Michelle Barrett is. Yeah, it must be, because that's when Christopher Pike gets damaged or whatever.
Yeah. No, okay.
Or no, he's not damaged.
That's later.
He meets the Orion. He's fooled by the Orions and the people that hold him in the cage, right?
Yeah,
but and Majel Barrett is number one, and there's that other other officer as well, lady officer.
It will be fascinating to see. Fascinating to see.
I see what you did there.
What they do for next season, if they are going to have a third actor play the part of Spock,
Zachary Quinto,
or maybe Zachary Quinto comes back, perhaps. Or do they? Yeah, I mean,
Well, it's interesting. There was a couple of throwbacks here, like you mentioned in the notes here that wasn't covered off of the mind worms from SETI Alpha 5
are being cooked for lunch on a pot.
Yeah. Didn't somebody eat one of those in one of the other episodes, like the maybe when Riker or somebody gets served up.
That's the season finale of season 1 of TNG, right? Where those things that are infesting the Admiralty of the
is that what that is? Oh, okay. Yeah.
That really
that's
weird,
a different episode.
Bad claymation little wriggly monsters. That was one of the low water marks, I think, for that TNG series.
Right. Okay.
Although the bad Admiral theme just continues to roll on like 25 years later. Like, the Admirals have made a really stupid decision that the captains of the ship will have to get them out of. That was like the theme of this episode. Cornwall makes bad decision.
That's true, yeah. The undiscovered country again, yeah.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it just keeps going round and round and round. And speaking of undiscovered country, when the Emperor goes in to interrogate Laurel near the beginning of the episode to get the information on Kronos, she beats the heck out of her. And Laurel is covered in red blood. Did we not establish in undiscovered country that Klingons don't have red blood?
They have sort of purpley blood, right?
They have sort of purpley blood. That was like the evidence on the boots that they had to go find, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a complicated history. And
this isn't like the head ridges again, is it?
Yeah, I think it is like the head ridges, actually.
It seems more like if we do anything, it's more undiscovered. It's more that undiscovered country could arguably be the outlier, because for the vast majority of Klingons with blood sort of depictions, they leave it as sort of normal. You don't see like Pepto-Bismol coming off of like Lieutenant Worf, as an example. And I think the history that I read on this was that in order to keep the rating, they couldn't have these red blobs of blood at that time, because it was like the 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
What?
And it's the sort of thing would probably just get like a PG rating now, but was
going to be too far for that.
So they couldn't have like 3D gravity CGI blood floating through the atmosphere? Or?
Yeah, so they made it pink or pinkish to get past the censors of it. All right, Klingons got pinkish blood, just like Vulcans and Romulans have greenish blood. Which
And Spock's got another brother. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, didn't Michael Dorn play his grandfather in the Undiscovered Country?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, so weird. But the other throwback, of course, was the appearance of Clint Howard. I mean, as soon as I saw that, I practically fell off my chair, because
that was awesome.
I think he was probably in the first or second episode I ever saw of Star Trek, which was the Corborite maneuver, and that was actually in 1966. I don't remember seeing that one live, but I do remember seeing that one. But he also played a character named Grady in an episode called Past Tense Part 2 in Deep Space Nine in 1995. He also played Muck, which was a Ferengi, in an episode called Acquisition in Enterprise 2002. And in this one, he's described as his character name is Creepy Orion. So Creepy Orion.
52 years of playing Star Trek characters. Good for him.
Yeah. So he's been in every one except for the TNG, right? So
Voyager.
And Voyager. Voyager.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For those doing the math at home, if you don't remember, I had to look up to see like what? How is it possible? Oh, he was like a little baby kid.
He was a child.
He was a child. Yeah, because he did that show, and then he was in a TV show called Gentle Ben, where he was about like 9 or 10.
Yeah,
and he looked like a relatively normal kid when he was a younger kid, and I think is he Ron Howard's younger brother?
Yes, yeah,
or younger brother. Yeah, okay, yeah, cool. And he was also in Apollo 13 for those of you following along.
So some of my favorite moments from this episode, I love the part where Tilly wants to have a moment alone with Burnham when they're down in the Orion camp and says, I'm hungry. Who's hungry? And goes over and just accepts random food on a stick and starts eating it while she's trying to get some, it's a little alone time with Burnham to try and figure out what's going on with the Emperor, and then realizes she's eating chunks of space whale.
Right, which we saw in the episode with Harry Mudd, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Gormagander. Mm-hmm.
Yep. That was pretty awesome.
Just a side note, both Shaniqua Martin Green and the girl who plays Tilly, Mary Wiseman, are both vegetarians, so they had to make them special meat-like looking things for them to eat.
Yeah, she continues to be the delight of the show. Hi Tilly was so much fun. The incident that Jaime described where she figures out that the captain is actually the Emperor, where she just sort of says, "Oh, she's not. Oh, okay." So then she's, "Oh, okay." Like her timing, her comedic timing is just fantastic. Yeah. She's just so much fun. She really has become the most fun part of that show.
By the way, she was just in the last episode of Baskets. Do you watch Baskets?
I don't, but I have been meaning to catch up with that one for a while because I really like
Zach
Galifianakis. Oh
yeah.
And the exchange at the beginning of the episode between Saru and the Emperor, where she starts basically making sushi jokes.
Does she?
Yeah. Well, she says,
"Oh, that part." Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant Sarek. Yeah, Saru. Yeah.
Where she's talking with Saru, and she basically says, "Have
you gotten tough?
Tough, Mr. Saru? I can tell you require seasoning." And then he sort of, and she literally licks her lips. She like rags her tongue across her teeth. And he says, "Well, many find me unpalatable," just delightful. Just delightful.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, again, I love it. There's nothing I like better than when Tim makes huge proclamations. There's no way they're going to get through this in 45 minutes, but they somehow powered through it. I can't say it was a great finale. It really did sort of fizzle, especially after that killer episode 2 episodes ago, and a lot of buildup. Last week's episode was really a lot of buildup to this. It kind of fizzled. I didn't really.
Yeah, I think we were expecting some sort of like major cliffhanger, like the Emperor with her finger on the trigger of the bomb or whatever, holding everybody at bay kind of thing. But instead, we get the Emperor, the Enterprise, which I don't know. That's kind of an Enterprise the movie kind of, Star Trek the movie kind of moment. Do I really care?
Yeah.
Do you really care that the Enterprise showed up at the end there?
Well, I mean, it's a nice setup for next year, and I was in. Like, I was in for next year. Are you gonna was that more of a hook than what anything else they could have done?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I think it was something that struck me as a safer cliffhanger, right? Because we were discussing last episode, at what point did they make the decision about what they were going to do, and are they going to end on like a hard cliffhanger, or is it more of like, well, we kind of wrote this not knowing if we were going to have more seasons or not?
Yeah, but if you look at something like The Walking Dead, right? When they do a season-ending cliffhanger, it's a cliffhanger.
But that's because they know, like, now they know, like, oh man, this is like easy money. We know for sure there's going to be a new season, sort of thing, right?
Right.
Discovery had all sorts of things working against it. It was the first Trek on TV, in more than a decade.
Sure.
It was, controversial because it's on CBS All Access in the United States, and casting and the tone, like it had all sorts of things where I could see that they were like, all right, let's make it so that it's kind of self-contained and we don't feel bad, or we don't make people feel bad because we didn't end the storyline. And oops, sorry, folks, there's no season 2, right?
Well, it is kind of a safe ending too. Like, yeah, if there's no season 2, then they end off with the Enterprise showing up, and we know that's where the next part of the story takes off, right? It's kind of like putting Darth Vader in the suit at the end of the last trilogy movie, right? So
yeah, and And the other question I had coming out of this one was, okay, so L'Rell has maintained all along that her goal is to unite the houses, right? She follows the beliefs of Takuma.
Kill the humans.
Takuma is about uniting the 24 houses into one Klingon people to, bring them all together. Okay, so their solution is, hey, we'll give you this trigger to the bomb that way you can use it to leverage yourself as this new power, and you get to theoretically lead the Klingon people. Now, we don't get for sure that she's now like head of the High Council or anything, but clearly she's a player in the game. But so why doesn't she just unite the houses like she planned? And then why wouldn't they just turn their attention to the fact that they had the Federation and the Starfleet on the ropes and crush them as a united people? Like, wouldn't that make the most sense?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
it seems like a
it
huge
kind of depends.
plot hole. Like, it's not like she was like, oh, thanks, Federation folks, for giving me this trigger. Now I'm going to use it to unite the people, but I won't turn against, like, why? Like, she has no allegiance to these people. Like, why wouldn't she just unite them?
Yeah. I feel like it was one of those episodes that could have used another 15 to 20 minutes, because they could have thrown in a, like a, we're looking at you right in the eye sort of thing. Like, and if you try to come attack us again, guess what? We still have our magic ship that can go plant another bomb that you don't control. We'll shove another one in there, right? And leave a little bit of a mutually assured destruction sort of situation set up.
Yeah, maybe. I just thought that was a weird sort of plot hole, and that, she maintained all along. She's like, I don't know you guys anything. I don't like you. Like, I'm pure Klingon. I follow Takuma. I'm not about you people. Like, she's very unrepentant in all this, and yet they're like, here, have the trigger that guarantees that you're now a huge power player who doesn't like us.
Right. It's like giving the Iranians weapons, right?
Yeah, I wonder if we at some point are going to see that thread picked back up. Like, I did see an interview after the episode where Shazad Latif, who plays Ash Tyler, says that he'll be back. He'll be back next season.
Okay.
So that is in the offing. So you got to wonder if there's more Klingon.
So will he come flying in from the left side of the screen when they're trying to blow up the Death Star kind of thing?
Clearly.
Right.
Clearly. I think he's going to come back as Harry Mudd's partner.
You've got your gold. Go off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's true. We don't know that Harry Mudd and Tyler aren't in cahoots, right?
Well, that would be a very complicated way to bring that all around.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what's your other comment here on the notes about medals and stuff?
Oh, well, I found myself watching the medal ceremony at the end where, so they make a point of saying, okay, well, so Burnham gets her commission back. So she's back in Starfleet. She's the new science officer for the Enterprise. Okay, well, I think we all saw that
Discovery.
coming. Enterprise, yeah. For Disco. Okay, there you go. They make a point of showing us Stamets holding the medal that he gets, but also the medal that's for Culber, a posthumous medal. I'm not sure what he got that for, because I'm not sure what he did to merit a medal in all this.
Died with honor?
I guess he died.
Yeah, like a Purple Heart.
He died on a medical bay floor. I mean, I don't know. So he gets a medal. He gets a medal. We see Saru gets a medal, and they also make a point of giving Tilly a medal, and Tilly also gets accepted into the officer training program, the command training program, which is what she's been after all this season. So we get like happy endings for everybody. And I just kept immediately flashing to the end of Star Wars thinking, well, Chewbacca didn't get a medal. How come all these guys got medals?
Right.
Where's Chewie's medal? Like, just, I wanted the camera to pan like one more guy over, and just as like a funny nod for there to be like a hairy crew member who's got a medal pinned to him.
Yeah. Well, so the other thing too is comes back to this, like as we said in the last episode, Tyler, who or somebody embodying the body of Tyler, snaps the neck of a fellow officer, and yet they put an Apple Watch on him and let him wander around the cafeteria and have apple pie and stuff with everybody, right? And then in this episode, Michael Burnham, who still was head of a mutiny and was involved in the death of her captain, is forgiven. Like, I don't get that sort of like lack of justice in this Star Trek universe.
Well,
right?
You got to wonder how they spin that. Maybe it'll come back around and they'll do a little, back explanation down the road. But maybe they spin that as, well, she didn't really commit mutiny. It was all about this plot to win the war or some. Because in the same way they brought Captain Giorgio back from the
Right.
head, right?
Yeah,
like
of
Admiral
course.
Cornwell has shown that she's not above lying to serve a purpose. So maybe they just say,
Right.
yeah, we said she was a mutineer, but she wasn't really a mutineer. She was actually on a special sleepaway camp for not mutineers.
Yeah, right.
That's why my headcanon fills it in and says she's got dirt on Sarek and Cornwell.
I want
so
my commission back.
Plays into it. And if you look at it from a real world perspective, I'm like, yeah, if you had like the child of a U.S. senator, it was like, yeah, guess what? They're probably going to get away with it, right?
Yep.
U.S. politicians are very powerful and they can sway the justice system. And I just assumed in my headcanon sort of way that this sort of happened here with like Sarek is obviously a very well-known and powerful person.
Yeah, but you know what? The whole it comes back to, and I think everybody who's a fan of the original series is sitting here like thinking like I'm thinking. The Federation at that point in time, or as it was portrayed in the 60s, was like very pure and honorable, and they wouldn't have stood for stuff like this. Like, and I think that the angst that Michael Burnham's character had in the fact that she was once this high-ranking officer in the Federation, and then totally messed up, right, to the point where they were going to throw her in jail for the rest of her life. They kind of redeemed her by allowing her to run around and help with this thing, but exonerating her of her crimes, I mean, doesn't make sense. Like, I think as a character device, she would have been much better still being here's a medal, thanks for helping us out, but you're still going to be persona non grata as far as officer material goes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
I still think after 15 episodes of her being sort of on the outs, I think it would have really started to drag if they were like, well, you don't really fit in here, even though she's clearly won the favor of her captain, her crew, Starfleet, and everybody else. She's redeemed herself. That was the whole point of the season. It was the redemption arc. She made a bad decision. She's got a redemption arc. Okay, well, fine. I'm not sure it would have. I'm not sure we could have done another 15 episodes of her being, well, still on the outside looking in and doesn't fit in. Although now she really just sort of falls into that Spocky role of like stand off to the side of the captain and say smart things and Trekkies
and argue with the medical officer. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, do a little Trexplanation, right?
Yeah. I do think that it did make sense, sort of like where can they go standpoint, as you stated there, that, all right, the crew certainly feels differently about her because she's been there in the battles. I wonder if they'll have even just like a moment or two or a very short scene about how like the rest of the Federation and Starfleet still feels, right? Because we saw her in one of the early episodes where the people on the crew, the prison ship were like not happy with her, right? That they viewed her very negatively. And I think you could play into both of those where you could have a scene where they encounter somebody who's like obviously very agitated and angry at Michael Burnham, and then have like Tilly come in and like attack and be like, no, blah, 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 blah. She's earned her place and, paid off her debt, that sort of thing. And it would work really well.
But realistically, the Federation TMZ channel is going to be all over this. Like, why? How come she, like I just said, how come she's able to kill these people one day and now she's like this, this hero, right? You know what I mean? Like in reality, like the reality TV people would be all over her, right?
Exactly.
Like it's a conspiracy of some type. They'd be looking for, some stone to unturn, right?
Yeah.
Overturn.
And we end up, of course, with the classic Star Trek theme to spin us out too, which is like a nice way to close the first season. The Alexander Courage classic theme.
Yeah, redone, but still, yes.
Yeah,
yeah. Which again leads into so this dovetails into the now you can just spin up the original series and watch that again, right? Because this show ends up ending where that one begins. It practically ends up near the cage, right? Like as I just said, right?
Remember that episode where they met that ship with the spore drive? Oh no, wait!
Yeah.
I totally don't remember. They did actually. That's the part we didn't really touch on. They did say that they do explain why they are not suddenly going back to using that. Is that Stamets says that Starfleet has decided that they shouldn't use humans as the
but it's okay to use what were those things called? The
tardigrade.
The tardigrade.
Tardigrades. Yeah. It's okay to use them until you're exhausted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean that's another hole there. So this whole spore drive technology, the whole mycelial network. I don't remember Kirk or Spock ever talking about that.
Yeah,
but they still have time to deal with it though, right? Because what you're talking about is that it leads into like a pilot episode for the original series. But there's still a pretty big gap there, and it's not like we haven't had series with overlaps before, like TNG to DS9 and DS9 to Voyager. So it's not as if they line up perfectly. So they still have time and opportunity to say, oh, guess guess what? Q has come in and poisoned the mycelial network, so nobody can use it, but it's still there, so that, life doesn't die, whatever, hand-wavy reason.
Yeah,
they still have the piece there that they can use in an emergency. Like, all right, Starfleet doesn't want us to use it, but guess what? We're about to die. We need to warp out of here.
Yeah. I think it's a convenient plot hole, but there it goes.
Yeah. Okay, listen, we have a ton of trailers to get to, which we skipped last week, so we should try not to whip through these, but we got to whip through them.
All right, we will whip through the trailers.
Let's do the Holy Trailers, Batman.
Holy Trailers, Batman. So starting on Super Bowl weekend, since then we've just gotten hammered with extended commercials and trailers. So I'll run through the list and then we'll have a little chit chat about these. So we got our first trailer for Solo, a Star Wars story. We got a new trailer for Avengers Infinity War. We got a new Jurassic World 2. We got our first trailer for Westworld Season 2 and a premiere date's coming out on April 22nd. That's awesome. We got a new Mission Impossible Fallout movie trailer. We got Castle Rock, the first one for the new Stephen King set series. We got a new Deadpool 2 trailer starring Cable, which was hilarious and awesome. We got a new Jessica Jones Season 2 trailer that's coming out next month. We got our first look at Venom in a Venom trailer, although frankly Venom wasn't in the trailer, so I don't know why they call it a Venom trailer. And we got a new Rampage trailer, which I watched today, and I'm sorry, but that movie just looks so Dwayne The Rock Johnson awesome. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, and of course the wolf flies, right?
Of course the wolf flies. Yeah. So let's jump into Solo, a Star Wars story. What are your first impressions from that one, guys?
Look good.
Does it?
Yeah. I think for me, it looks promising. So I think it's the same sort of thought I had with Rogue One, where I was like, all right, I'll go see that movie. It wasn't like, oh my God, I have to see that movie. It wasn't that level.
No.
But it also didn't make me think, oh, holy smokes, that's a terrible thing. I'm not going to see that.
No red flags, anyone? Anyone, except for the fact that we only got like one line from the star of the show in the entire trailer?
Yeah.
That is a bad sign.
You don't find that a little concerning?
It seems a little odd. And maybe they'll do, what do they call it? Is it ADR? Where they dub over somebody's existing performance?
Well, and the rumor was that when they were having production problems, they actually brought in an acting coach to work with Alden Ehrenreich, who plays Han Solo. So apparently he was having a tough time. Now, again, this is just rumors. We have no proof of this, but that was part of the whole this production is faltering issue, was that he was apparently having a really tough time getting the character and getting the performance. And then when you see a first trailer like this does not do well to dissuade those fears of, hey, wait a minute, the movie's called Solo. It's about Han Solo. Is he going to be the worst thing in this movie? Because there's no question in my mind Donald Glover is going to be the best thing in this movie. He is going to crush as Lando. He looks so fly in that outfit, the yellow shirt. Oh, it's awesome. He's going to be so good. But it's not called Lando, a Star Wars story, which frankly maybe it should. But we talked about this in our 2018 movie preview. I was not a whole way in on this movie, and I'm still not all the way in on this movie yet.
Right.
It's still, there's some warning flags,
Yeah, by the way, did you hear that George Lucas had announced that he was going to do a Solo movie?
No.
That was announced today. He had in the works, he was going to do one. Oh. I don't know why he decided not to, but...
Well, I heard that he showed up on...
That should make this movie sound better already, right?
Yeah, I heard he showed up on set and had an idea that Ron Howard used.
Yeah, he directed the scene apparently,
Yeah, so, I mean, sure. So
well, it is Ron Howard. Ron Howard hasn't got a reputation of wrecking movies, right?
No, but I mean, the question is, in the same way that I liked Rogue One a lot, I thought there was a lot of good stuff in there, but it was very disjointed. It clearly felt like movie making by committee. It felt like, in the same thing with Suicide Squad, some of these movies that have had, a couple of directors and clearly a lot of time in the editing bay. Rogue One, it feels like a bunch of movies glued together. I'm worried about this one feeling the same way, where they're like, okay, so the guy who's going to be Solo is not that great. Let's maybe see if we'll film more scenes with these other characters. I mean, the cast they have around him is phenomenal. They got Woody Harrelson. They've got the girl from Game of Thrones, Emilia Clarke. They've got Donald Glover, who's like the best thing on television right now with Atlanta. Like, they've got a killer cast built up around him.
So, wait, Atlanta. Have you seen Atlanta?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just saw a trailer for it.
Yeah, season 2's coming out this year, and I can't wait. It's such a good show. I'm heartened by the fact that it's got this really good cast around it. But again, the movie's called Solo. It's supposed to be about how cool Han Solo is. This is one of the coolest, most iconic characters. This is the Fonzie of my generation. Like, I don't have a good feeling.
You don't want Joni and Chachi, in other words, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, if they'd called it Lando, a Star Wars story, I'd be all in.
Yeah.
And frankly, if they're not starting production on Lando, a Star Wars series after this, a Star Wars story after this, I don't know what they're thinking. I really don't.
Okay.
So we saw a new Infinity War trailer. Any reflections on that one?
Don't know that I saw it.
Blows up real good.
It didn't add a lot to the previous one. So unchanged. Still very excited to see the movie. I don't recall seeing anything drastically new in that one.
Yeah, Jurassic World 2. This is kind of a longer look, really.
Yeah, very, very similar. We're not much different than the first trailer, kind of a same kind of feel. So,
yep. Westworld Season 2, we got the running of the weird robot bulls.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll have to binge Season 1 at some point because I've not been into Westworld, so I need to catch up with all the cool kids.
Oh, yeah, you should dive into that one again. It's a sumptuous show. It's really, really just beautiful to look at. Mission Impossible Fallout, again.
11, I think it's Mission Impossible 11 or something like that.
Not enough money in the world. Castle Rock, again, interesting. There's a few weird, interesting Stephen King overlapping things in there. There's a Shawshank Redemption tie-in at one point. He's reading a newspaper that says mayor shoots himself, or a prison warden shoots himself. I still don't know how they stitch those worlds together, but I'm keen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was a Hulu exclusive. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I might have to use the money I was already spending on CBS All Access, cancel that, and then spend on Hulu to watch this and
Runaways.
Handmaid's Tale or something.
Yeah.
And Runaways too. Yeah.
Deadpool 2, again, so much fun. Yeah. We got our first really good look at Cable. We got a lot of, silliness and fun with the Toy Story homage. Again, and lots of just blowing up good, lots of returning characters. Like, it just looked delightful. Again, they look like they're having a lot of fun just chewing up scenery and spitting it out and blowing things up. Like, it just looks like it's going to be as fun as the last one.
Yeah, and the trailer has a dig at Justice League at the very beginning. That's fun.
Yeah. Jessica Jones season 2, again, dark, really dark, and a strange purple casting to some of the lighting in that one. What do you think about that? Purple.
I'm not as familiar with Jessica Jones's character in the comics, so I literally have no idea what that even means.
Well, her villain in the first one was the Purple Man. That was the character's comic book name, is the Purple Man.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So I wonder if we'll be seeing the return of the Purple Man or more backstory between the two of them.
Well, that's the question because he's apparently been dealt with.
Spoilers.
Series,
Spoilers.
Right? Well, okay, whatever.
Venom.
It's been over a year.
Did you guys see? Yeah, no, we're past the spoilers limitations. Venom. Did you guys see the Venom trailer?
No,
I did, and you're right.
Or maybe I did. I don't know.
Like, I understand it's like, it's like a teaser. It's like, yeah, but you didn't even get to the point of teasing, because if you want to do teaser and not really show what's happening, you do what the 2014 Godzilla movie does, where it's like, oh, what is this? Is this like military dudes are jumping out of plane? Oh, it's Godzilla. Okay. You show a little bit of the ridged back. You show most of it covered in clouds, and then you hear the roar, right? Granted, Venom doesn't really have like a notable sound that you could use, but you could have used like a little bit of hint and shadow, something other than like, the movie title card itself to give me a hint of what Venom was going to look like.
Yeah, I just, all I thought was like, wow, Tom Hardy the movie. Like, I like Tom Hardy a lot as an actor, but I didn't really get anything there that made me want to spend money in a theater to go see that. Although it does look dark, again, it looks like, considering this is theoretically from the same studio that's doing the new Spider-Man reboots, right? This is Sony doing the Spider-Verse. It looks like a dark slice of that universe.
Yeah, I wish it well, and I hope we'll get a better sort of teaser or full trailer, because I sure would love to see how they're interpreting Venom in this universe.
And our last trailer was just this week, new Rampage trailer. Again, it looks so watchable. It's dumb, I know, but damned if that movie doesn't look watchable.
I felt very similar, and it definitely did not dissuade me from my previous statement of I wanted to go see The Rock's movies.
Yeah, that is just a bowl full of popcorn and a wasted afternoon.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
So
Trailer-orama.
Trailer-orama. Okay, so we have a few minutes to do some quick picks. So, Jonathan, you have an easy pick here.
I have the easy pick of the week, Black Panther. This movie looks like it's going to be everything. It's, a huge blockbuster in the making. Apparently the pre-sales are monstrous. They're saying it's going to make, in the ballpark of 150 to $200 million the first weekend. That's more money than any of the Captain America movies have made. That's like, Avengers place, a level of movie selling, ticket selling. So this is going to be a huge flick. I'm really excited about it. I'm curious to see this world. We've seen lots of little teases of it, and it looks really, really interesting and intense. Again, it looks a little bit more, a little less playful than perhaps the last few efforts from the Marvel universe. It's not Thor Ragnarok with his tongue firmly planted in his cheek. It looks very earnest, but boy, does it look fantastic, and I can't wait to see what they come up with.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Same here, and the reviews from critics are coming in rather good as well, so I'm very hopeful for that.
Yeah.
All right. And what do you got there, Jaime?
Yeah, can't remember how many episodes it was ago that we talked about. I had a pick about how Star Wars was saved in the edit. So this goes kind of along a similar vein of how editing can really change a movie even after it's been filmed. This is called The Incredibles, but in 7 different genres. So it's interesting to see how they take scenes from the original Incredibles movie and was it Jack's Big Day or something? I forget what the second one is. Like a Pixar short.
Yep.
And it's rather timely because the new Incredibles 2 movie is coming out rather soon this year, and you can see how they change it to be like a film noir. They show it to be like a horror movie and all these other kind of completely different kind of styles using different editing tricks. So it's worth a watch just to see how people can do that sort of thing.
Right. Which brings me to Peter Rabbit. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking at the trailer. I haven't really seen the trailer for Peter Rabbit, but I've seen pictures from it and I've seen bits and pieces of it and just sort of real quick snapshots as I've been flipping by my PVR and stuff like that. And I don't know, but I can just see parents scaring the hell out of a 3-year-old by making them watch that movie.
Yeah. Did you hear about the Peter Rabbit kerfuffle this week too?
No, what was that? No.
So apparently there's a scene in the film where somebody is allergic to, Jaime, I don't know, was it carrots?
It's like blackberries or blueberries.
There's somebody has an allergy and they use it as a, if you don't do what we say, it's a bullying tactic. They're gonna hurt somebody with what they're allergic to. And so there has been such a backlash over this, use of this as a bullying tactic that they feel the need to put out a warning saying, well, we acknowledge that this scene is not appropriate and we, encourage children not to do this. So it turned into a whole thing this week where lots of parent advocacy groups and all these different people on the social media platforms have been up their tree about the fact that, this is a horrible portrayal and kids will get bullied because people can realize they can use their allergies against them. And there was a lot of soapbox climbing this week on this subject. And again, obviously, you don't want people to, kids to get the wrong messages, but that's a strange twist to come from what seemed to be a very innocuous looking flick.
Yeah. Some of the imagery I just thought, I do know of, I've heard of some kids who can't watch what was the movie with Michael J. Fox where he played a little mouse? Stuart Little.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Or Cats. Yes, that's right. Stuart Little. I think one of my friend's kids was just horrified by Stuart Little and the cats in that one, right? So
yeah. Peter Rabbit has some sort of, dark moments in it. I remember reading that book repeatedly as a kid, and that's, it's an old fashioned book. It's not,
I mean the hunter or the farmer's always
the farmer's going to murder the rabbits.
Exactly.
It was not sanitized.
But murdering a watercolor rabbit is not the same thing as murdering a CGI rabbit. You know what I mean?
I guess.
Or having a CGI wolf or fox come into your face, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's definitely of that era, I mean, think about how. All right, so I'll take two different movies, two different Disney movies. So Moana, right? Spoilers for Moana. It ends rather non-violently. Like the final confrontation is very indirect, as opposed to, again, spoilers for Sleeping Beauty. That witch that's like the problem. They straight up stab her in the chest. Yeah. Like, granted, she's a dragon, so it's a little less gory, but this was like the way you dealt with things in like the 1940s, 1950s. You stabbed things, right? It was like a harsher life and like a Grimm's fairy tales, like very dark. Right. Yeah, this could happen to you, children, sort of thing. So stay on the straight and narrow. Yeah, yeah. Well, and again, we grew up in an era where Gargamel wanted to eat the Smurfs every week. I mean, he wasn't like, hey, I want to catch the Smurfs because they're in my garden. This wasn't fried. You know, he wanted to straight up eat these little guys. You know, like, you know, it's a different world, I guess. Yeah, PC world. I don't know. I mean, you know, they're going to make these changes, but in the same way that they're going to, you know, they're going to bring these things to life. You know, of course they're going to bring IP, right? It's all about IP. People know Peter Rabbit. People are like, oh, that's an innocuous thing. I'll take my children to see it. It you know, amuses them for 2 hours, gets them out of my hair. And now there's being a lot of stuff read into these things, and I don't know. It's a strange thing. Anyway, I just wanted to bring up this little fluffy rabbit. We're going to go, you know, people are going to go see in the theaters, but oh well, maybe it's a horror movie. Peter Rabbit, The Dark Years. Exactly. It's real family friendly until they end up in the Gentleman's Club, and you're like, wait a minute, am I watching the same movie anymore? Well, the part where he sort of, for no reason at all, says that's so fucking cool, I thought was I thought that was over the top. Personally, I thought that was no need for that. Oh man, it's not my Peter Rabbit. No, you're right, Peter. It is effing cool. Yeah. Yeah, effing cool. Mm-hmm. Nice. Thanks for that. Well, we had thongs on Star Trek this week, so our G-strings, I think the Orion, Orion slave true. Girls were they were scantily clad. That's for sure. You just know somebody in a production office was like, "How can we Game of Thrones up Star Trek?" Yeah, yeah. Like that was the most Game of Thrones overt moment of the season, I think. It's true. Like, could there be a brothel? Like, okay, hang on, and a guy with a little finger? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, well, I guess that's it. So, hey, how many people want to find you on the interwebs? Where they look? I'm on Twitter as @DevWithAHair. All right, and Jonathan, if people want to find you, Firewolf, if people want to find you, you know, I got to look and see if @Firewolf is on. Well, you know, you just have to. You can change your display name on. You don't have to be JPK News. That's tempting. I'll have to look at that. Well, for the time being, I'm @JPK News on Twitter. Maybe Firewolf on Twitter. Yeah, keep your eye out. Keep your eyes peeled for that one. Yeah, I'm sure it's been taken. All right, my name is Timitra, TIMMITRA on the Twitcher machine, and that's the best way to get a hold of me. Or you can always find Jaime and I if you listen to More Than Just Code podcast. So there you go. Now you've been told. All right, so I guess we'll take a break for a bit, and we'll see you in the future. Bye. Goodbye. Bye.
If you want to find out more about the podcast or see the episode show notes, visit the Spockcast website at spockcast.com. You can get in touch with us on the website or follow us on Twitter @SpockCast. If you have feedback or questions, send us a tweet with the hashtag AskSpockcast. If you like the show, please consider recommending us to a friend, writing a review on iTunes, or pledging any amount at patreon.com/Spockcast. You can find details on how to help us out on our website at spockcast.com/sponsor us. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the future.
Oh, it's a turbine. It's very exciting. Anyway, time for us to take our bio breaks and meet up with Mark.
Can I ask one question before you go?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have you watched Altered Carbon yet?
I haven't watched Altered Carbon. We were talking about that on the show, but I you know what I've been watching is that they binged, or they did a full season run of Legion. So I've been watching that.
Ooh, Legion's good. I like Legion a lot.
Yeah, very strange.
It's I know it's very trippy. I watched it week by week, and I think week by week isn't as good. I would like to have binged it. It's
oh really?
It's a little head scratchy. You find yourself thinking like, where's everybody again? What's going on? Because it's part of it is inside this guy's brain, right? It's how he perceives things.
Yeah.
And he's off his rocker. So, but
or is he?
Well, or is he the only one who's sane? Yes.
True.
But it's really like, I like the way it's shot and the actors. There's so many good actors on that show. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. But I can
see where the Jean Smart comes into it from Fargo, like you said, because she played a really good character on Fargo.
Yeah, you start seeing the worlds colliding a little bit if you watch the Fargo show.
Yeah.
But I started watching Altered Carbon. I'm halfway through at this point. There's a lot of nudity and a lot of blood. Some interesting ideas mixed into all the blood and the nudity. But I'm keen to see how it pays off in the end. I would say it's worth a watch anyways because it's pretty slick looking and some good ideas in there.
It's got that actor guy too from
that.
He was from that. It was
guy.
The Killing. You ever see The Killing?
Oh yeah. The guy who plays Detective Holder, and he was also RoboCop in the 2013-2014 edition.
Yeah, is Kinnaman Joel Kinnaman?
Joel Kinnaman, yeah. And I think he's actually from the place where The Killing was originally done. Like, wasn't he associated with it somehow?
Yeah, I think he was like from Finland or Norway, wherever the original one is from.
Yeah. So I think he was associated with the original Killing.
His real name is Charles Nordstrom, and he's Swedish, apparently.
Swedish.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I've gotten 2 or 3 episodes into Altered Carbon, so just barely starting it.
Yeah, again, it's a bit of a slow burn. You're sort of like, what is happening here? You kind of have to invest a little bit, but the gratuitous nudity and blood sort of keeps it entertaining for a bit, anyways. While you try and pick up what the heck is happening. But yeah, I'm going to try and finish it off this week and see, because this week's actually a really good hiatus week. Everything's over right now. There's no shows on.
Right. Well, I did watch the trailer. Does that count?
Yes, that completely counts as watching 10 hours of a Netflix show.
Well, there's so many Netflix shows I got to catch up on too. That's the other thing, right? So
yeah,
I keep watching this other cable television thing. I'm not sure what the hell that's about.
Yeah, this week, I don't know what, it's because the Olympics are on.
The Olympics too. That's the other thing I've been watching.
I think the Olympics are on, so although the Olympics all weird because it's all first thing in the morning. I've been putting it on my computer at work and just listening to it in the background while I write.
Yeah. Did Canada win the hockey game today?
Good. Was Canada playing today?
Canada USA.
Oh, the women's game
tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. That's women's games. I think. Oh, it's either today.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch men's hockey this year. There's no NHL players.
I know. I watched. I listened to a bit of the first not Russia game this morning, and I think that's the first jersey I want to buy for a while because it literally says like not Russia on it on the jersey. It says because they got banned, right? They got banned from the Olympics for being like mass doping during the last Winter Olympics. Yeah. So their jerseys are literally like red and white, and they say Olympic athlete from Russia in like plain, like the most plain fonted letters you can get. It may as well say like not Russia on the big letters on the front. It's awesome. It's so humiliating. It's awesome. I love it.
Wow. I think by the big news today was I think the Korean women's hockey team played and they scored a goal.
Nice. So that was good for them.
Big news. Yeah.
The last I heard, the Canadian women were 2-0. They beat Finland 4-1 the other day. That was yesterday.
So find hockey here. Where's hockey?
Yeah, I was just jazzed about the curling because the doubles were on and Canada won gold, and now the men's have just started. So that's my sport. That's my jam.
Which is this?
Curling. Foster and I've been watching the curling.
Oh, curling. Oh yeah, I was wondering if Foster was watching that.
I forced him. I was like, hey, the gold medal game's on. He's like, the gold what now? Of what?
Yeah, really?
Come on, man.
Get with that program.
You're literally a curler. Come on.
Yeah. So Canada, February 14th. 10 p.m. What?
So is that on right now?
Yeah, I guess so. In progress, it says live.
Live?
Well, you can go watch it, and score is 0-0.
Well, there you go.
After one period. That's weird. All right, we got to run because Mark will be chomping at the bit in a few minutes.
All right, well, go Canada, go, and I'll talk to you guys again sometime in the future.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
A client met his banker to discuss opening a restaurant in a busy airport. In us, he found a partner that understood the importance of reaching for the sky. First Horizon Bank. Let's find a way. Go to firsthorizon.com/Mac.